Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Thanks for having me.
Today we're going to take a deep dive into the world of amateur radio satellites, or AMASATs.
Okay.
So, we talk about amateur radio a lot on the show, but this is taking it to a whole new level. This is everyday people, ham radio enthusiasts, maybe even some of our listeners, are using relatively low-power equipment
Right.
to bounce signals off of objects orbiting the Earth to talk to people thousands of miles away.
Yeah.
It's a pretty ingenious concept.
It is, and it's pretty remarkable that this isn't about massive government projects or anything like that.
Yeah.
This is driven by the ingenuity and the collaborative spirit of the amateur radio community.
Yeah.
These satellites are often designed, built, and operated by volunteers, dedicated volunteers.
Yeah, exactly. And to understand how we got to where we are today with these ham radio satellites in space, we have to start at the beginning.
Okay.
Way back in 1961.
Right.
1961 saw the launch of Oscar 1. Orbital satellite carrying amateur radio.
Nice.
Now, our sources tell us that it wasn't doing anything incredibly complex.
Right.
It was essentially just transmitting high in Morse code.
Yeah.
But even that simple message was a huge step.
Oh, absolutely.
Huh.
Oscar 1, launched on December 12, 1961, was a proof of concept.
Okay.
It demonstrated that amateur-built satellites could indeed be placed into orbit
Right.
and function.
Yeah.
While its lifespan was brief, just 22 days before the batteries were depleted.
Okay.
It was a resounding success, improving the feasibility of the entire idea.
So that was the initial spark. So now let's
Yeah.
jump ahead a bit
Okay.
to some of the real milestones.
Right.
One that really stands out is Oscar 7,
Okay.
or MS Oscar 7, launched in 1974.
All right.
This satellite was groundbreaking because it had multiple transponders.
Yeah.
Think of it like having several different independent relay stations up in space all at once.
Precisely. Yeah.
Launched November 15th, 1974.
Okay.
Oscar 7 significantly expanded the possibilities for amateur communication.
Yeah.
So a transponder on a satellite is like a sophisticated walkie-talkie in the sky.
Okay.
It listens on a specific range of frequencies, that's the uplink,
Okay.
where ground stations transmit.
Right.
And then it simultaneously retransmits any received signals on a different range.
Okay.
That's the downlink,
Yeah.
which allows signals to effectively be bent around the curvature of the Earth.
So it's receiving and then transmitting at the same time.
Yeah, simultaneously.
Okay. Got it.
So having multiple transponders meant that more conversations could happen simultaneously.
Okay.
And, different frequency bands could be utilized.
Got it.
But what's truly remarkable about Oscar 7 is its unexpected return to life in 2002, after being declared non-operational in 1981.
Wow. That's incredible. Decades of silence, and then it just wakes up.
Yeah. What kind of conditions could even cause a satellite to do that after so long?
Yeah.
Were there any theories about what happened?
So while the exact cause is still debated, it's believed that a battery issue may have led to a shutdown.
Okay.
And then perhaps changes in solar conditions.
Okay.
Or internal circuitry allowed it to reactivate years later.
Wow.
It's a fascinating example of the unpredictable nature of space and technology.
Yeah, you don't think about that, like space weather affecting something like that.
Yeah, it's there's a lot going on out there.
Yeah.
But Oscar 7's multi-transponder capability really set the stage for more complex amateur satellite designs.
Okay.
Building on that foundation, the next major leap in design came with Oscar 10,
Okay.
launched in 1983.
Right.
This one had an elliptical orbit,
Okay.
which I gather was deliberate choice.
Why was
Is that
there
an important advancement?
Well, an elliptical orbit as opposed to a circular one, it means the satellite's distance from Earth varies throughout its orbit.
Exactly.
Right.
So this varying distance allows for much longer periods of visibility from certain locations on Earth
Okay.
during parts of its orbit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is crucial for achieving those sought-after long-distance contacts.
Got it.
But it wasn't just about longer visibility. This type of orbit also presented new challenges and opportunities for ground operators.
Okay.
For instance, it allowed for Doppler shift compensation strategies to be developed and refined by amateur operators.
Okay.
A significant learning experience in radio wave propagation.
Okay.
Oscar 10 was heavily utilized for SSB, single sideband, and CW continuous wave communication.
Okay.
These modes are more spectrally efficient than FM, meaning they can transmit the same information in a narrower bandwidth,
Okay.
requiring less power to travel long distances, which is crucial when relying on battery power in space,
Right.
and modest ground station setups.
So the elliptical orbit wasn't just about being visible for longer. It introduced a new level of kind of strategic planning
Exactly.
for operators trying to make those long distance contacts.
Yeah.
And SSB and CW are the go-to modes when you're trying to like squeeze every last bit of signal out of your equipment.
Precisely.
Yeah. All right.
And speaking of pushing boundaries, let's talk about Oscar 13,
Okay.
which came along in 1988.
All right.
Our guide mentions it as a high-orbit satellite,
Okay.
enabling worldwide communication.
Okay.
That sounds like a significant step up from Oscar 10's elliptical orbit.
Yeah, it was. Launched on June 15th, 1988.
Okay.
Oscar 13's higher orbit provided even broader coverage,
Yeah.
truly opening up opportunities for global communication
Yeah.
among amateur radio enthusiasts.
Okay.
And with multiple transponders on board, it also became a platform for more advanced high-frequency radio experimentation.
Okay.
And this raises kind of an important question about the evolving role of these satellites.
Right.
Not just as communication tools,
Right.
but as platforms for learning and discovery.
Okay.
So what kind of experiments were being conducted on Oscar 13?
So Oscar 13 supported a wider range of frequency bands and modes, allowing amateurs to experiment with different antenna designs, propagation characteristics at various frequencies, and even early forms of digital communication.
Wow.
It really served as a test bed for pushing the limits of what could be achieved through amateur radio from space.
Wow. That's really impressive.
Yeah.
So AO40, launched in 2000, was intended to be this high-altitude relay,
Okay.
but it ran into some trouble early on.
That's correct. AO40 or AMSAT Oscar 40 had ambitious goals
Okay.
for high-altitude relay capabilities,
Okay.
aiming for even wider coverage than previous satellites.
Cockpit.
While it did experience early system failures, particularly with its high-power transponder,
Okay.
it still carried a variety of other transponders and even experimental digital payloads. So, despite the setbacks, it still contributed to the ongoing learning and experimentation within the community.
Yeah.
Sometimes even unexpected challenges in space can provide valuable data and inform future designs.
Yeah, a learning opportunity in orbit.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
So SO50, also known as SaudieSat 1C, launched in 2002.
Okay.
Seems a bit different in its focus.
Okay.
It's an FM repeater satellite,
Yep.
available worldwide.
Okay.
That sounds like a workhorse for more everyday amateur communication.
Yeah, kind of like taking a step back from the cutting edge and focusing on providing that workhorse
Exactly.
communication platform.
Launched by Saudi Arabia on December 20th, 2002.
Okay.
SO50 is designed specifically for FM voice communication.
Got it.
Its relative simplicity, accessibility, and wide availability have made it a very popular choice for licensed amateur operators looking to make reliable contacts.
Yeah.
It's a good example of a satellite providing a more straightforward, reliable service for routine communication.
All right. So while some satellites were pushing the boundaries
Right.
of technology and experimentation, others were focused on providing this consistent
Yeah.
and accessible
Yeah.
communication platform for the broader amateur community.
Right.
Then we have FO29.
Okay.
Fuji Oscar 29, launched by Japan in 1996.
Okay.
Our source calls this one of the most widely used amateur satellites
Okay.
due to its excellent performance.
Okay.
So what made it so consistently popular?
So FO29's longevity
Okay.
and the exceptional performance of its transponders
Okay.
are key factors in its enduring popularity.
Okay.
Launched in 1996, it has consistently provided excellent support for SSB, CW, and digital communications,
Okay.
making it a reliable tool for long-range contacts.
Okay.
What's fascinating here is how a satellite launched over 2 decades ago continues to be such a vital resource.
Right.
It speaks to the quality of its initial design and construction.
Yeah, that definitely speaks to good engineering and design. Yeah.
Standing the test of time in a very harsh environment.
Absolutely.
Moving to more recent times, we have AO91,
Okay.
or RadXat AMSAT Oscar 91,
Yeah.
launched in 2017.
Okay.
This one's interesting because it was a collaboration
Yeah.
with NASA's educational programs.
Okay.
So it's not just about communication anymore, but also about directly involving education in these space programs.
Precisely, yeah.
So how did that collaboration work?
So launched in collaboration with NASA in 2017,
Okay.
AO91 serves a really valuable dual purpose.
Okay.
It provides FM repeater functionality for amateur radio communication,
Okay.
allowing for voice contacts, but it also carries radiation experiments developed by students, allowing them to collect real-world data from space.
Wow.
It's a fantastic example of how these satellites can inspire the next generation of scientists and engineers
Yeah.
by giving them direct access to space technology and data.
Yeah. That's a brilliant way to combine practical communication with hands-on learning.
Right. Following that, in 2018, we saw the launch of AO92, or Fox 1D.
Yeah.
This is part of AMSAC's Fox series,
Okay.
focusing on low Earth orbit communication.
Right.
So what does the Fox series bring to the table in terms of capabilities?
So the Fox series, including 8092, launched in January 2018,
Okay.
aims to provide reliable and versatile low Earth orbit communication capabilities.
Okay.
These satellites offer FM voice relay for basic communication,
Okay.
but they also incorporate telemetry systems
Okay.
that broadcast data about the satellite's health and environment.
Okay.
And they support digital data services,
Got it.
expanding the ways in which amateur operators can interact with and utilize these space-based platforms for things like packet radio and data exchange.
Okay, so a step beyond
Yeah.
simple voice repeating into more complex data handling.
Right, exactly.
And finally, we have QO100, or S-HALE-2,
Okay.
also launched in 2018. This one really stands out because it's the first geostationary amateur radio satellite.
Okay.
So that's a game changer in terms of coverage.
Absolutely.
And accessibility, right?
Yeah, its geostationary orbit, positioned over the Middle East and Africa, provides continuous 2047 coverage
Wow.
for a vast area stretching from Brazil to Thailand.
Wow.
Launched in 2018, QO100 enables both voice and digital communications and, crucially, facilitates truly global connectivity for amateur radio operators within its footprint.
Okay.
Because it stays in a fixed position relative to the Earth.
Right.
Ground stations don't need to track it, making it much simpler to use for continuous communication.
Got it.
This represents a significant leap in the capabilities and accessibility of amateur radio satellites.
So we've looked at a truly fascinating array of these orbiting ham shacks.
Yeah.
Each with its own unique story and purpose.
Right.
But if we kind of step back and look at the big picture here, what are the key functions that these satellites in general provide to the amateur radio community and to wider society?
Well, at their core, many provide vital voice communication
Okay.
through FM repeaters, allowing long-distance contacts without needing high power or ideal terrestrial conditions.
Okay.
This opens up the world of communication to many more enthusiasts.
Right.
Then you have the satellites supporting Morse code and single sideband,
Okay.
which cater to those who enjoy the technical challenge and efficiency of low-power, long-range communication.
Right.
Increasingly, we see digital communication and data transmission capabilities,
Okay.
especially with the rise of CubeSats,
Okay.
which are fantastic for educational and experimental projects.
Right.
Many also gather telemetry and conduct scientific research.
Okay.
With that data often being made available to amateur operators and even the broader scientific community. And importantly, some of these satellites can serve as vital backup communication networks during emergencies when traditional infrastructure fails due to natural disasters or other events.
Yeah, so it's definitely not just about, chatting with someone far away for fun, although, that's certainly part of it.
Yeah.
It's also deeply intertwined with learning about space technology, conducting hands-on experimentation, with radio communication, contributing to real scientific endeavors, and even providing, a crucial safety net in times of need.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's a pretty impressive list of functions for something largely driven by volunteer effort.
Exactly. The overarching role of these amateur radio satellites is to provide invaluable opportunities for learning about space technology, conducting hands-on experimentation with radio communication techniques, and fostering a truly global community of enthusiasts who share a passion for radio and space. They really embody the core spirit of amateur radio.
Yeah.
Experimentation, communication, and community.
It's truly incredible to think that that this all started with a simple high I in Morse code,
Yeah.
transmitted from space. We've come such a long way, haven't we?
Quite a journey.
Yeah, from that initial almost rudimentary demonstration to sophisticated geostationary satellites,
Yeah.
offering 247 global coverage for voice and digital communication.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a powerful testament to the dedication, innovation, and collaborative spirit within the amateur radio community.
Yeah.
They've consistently pushed the boundaries of what's possible with relatively limited resources, driven by curiosity and a desire to connect
Yeah, I mean, it really speaks to what people can accomplish. Yeah.
when they work together towards a common goal.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive
Okay.
into the fascinating world of amateur radio satellites,
Yeah.
let's circle back to that initial idea.
Okay.
Using relatively low power equipment
Right.
to communicate across vast distances.
Yeah.
Now with the context of the diverse capabilities and incredible history that we've explored,
Right.
it takes on a whole new level of meaning
It does indeed.
and significance.
What began as a seemingly simple experiment
Yeah.
has evolved into a sophisticated network of orbiting platforms,
Right.
providing a remarkable range of services
Yeah.
and opportunities for education,
Right.
experimentation,
Yeah.
and global connection.
This whole journey makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If a seemingly niche hobby like amateur radio, driven by passionate individuals, can lead to such surprising technological advancements.
Yeah. And foster these kinds of global connections.
Yeah.
What other passions or areas of interest
Right.
might hold similar untapped potential?
Think a question.
Yeah, what could you explore
Yeah.
that bridges a personal interest
Right.
with broader applications
Yeah.
in ways you haven't even imagined yet?
It's something to ponder for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely something profound to think about.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for joining us
Thanks for having me.
on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.